So this is the actual content. Okay. Even for corporates, I'll do. Only difference is for corporates, they will be onto a project. So I'll be dealing with some kind of project-oriented training will be there. They will be doing some migration, or they will be having some additional challenges for Snowflake, because Snowflake now, even though Snowflake has been introduced on 2014 onwards, but it has been more popular after 2018 only. That is in the last 2 years, right? So we can see a very significant the improvement, or the most demanding data warehouse in the market nowadays. Okay, so really it is have a lot of advantages. So so it has been very popular nowadays, and a lot of people are coming into it, right? So that's why we are also getting business about that. So the thing is, Snowflake is having many what you call advantages more than your existing on-premises data warehouse and all. But the thing is, some of them, when I was doing some other training, so many people come with a preset idea about Snowflake will have everything on itself. That means ETL, right? ETL part they are thinking about. Even yesterday, I had a call with so they are asking about ETL things and all, something like. So we are going to take it transformations on Snowflake. I think all the three are aware of ETL processing, right? Some of you, I think Sriram is working more on Informatica or something like that. So this Snowflake is not having any kind of ETL except very few process, 3 or 4 process that we don't consider it as the ETL process at all. Like selecting columns, ordering the columns, particular columns, and while selecting itself, that is copy into. Copy into is the command where you can apply all these ETL process. We'll be doing sometime later on, right? And casting, so you can convert data types and all. So that is what the ETL process is mentioned by Snowflake. So you need to, whenever migration is happening, so a lot of training, whichever coming for the corporates, so they will be doing migration only. The client talked about migration from Oracle. So some of them in Oracle Cloud also. So they are going to migrate it to Snowflake. They find that Snowflake is having more what do you call it? It's performing more better than Oracle and other things, right? So what I have done so far is I have done migration from Hive storages and Sybase also, from Sybase. So how we are taking, actually it is not like from anywhere you take. So we have to consider about how to export data from those databases. So that is the one thing we will be doing, right? Because Snowflake is nothing to do with this kind of migration and all. What we have to do is we need to accommodate the data properly, right? So how not to disturb the existing model, and how because the other users has to adjust with that. To avoid that one, that is one first thing. Second thing is about to use the advanced features of Snowflake also. So right, so we have to find some kind of balanced way of doing a modeling. So we create a model. That is what the challenge in Snowflake. Other than that, migration is about when you are talking about Sybase or any database, you need to export the data. You would have known that now itself, right? So we have done nearly, this is the 10th day, I think so, we are into, right? We have another one, guys. So we have another 10 days or 12 days only, mostly, I think so. We'll be completing all these topics together, okay? So you just take a look on that. So using Snowflake is about creating warehouses, file format sequences, and tables. So connecting to Snowflake. So the drivers are required. I'll show you how to drivers are required when you don't have a dedicated driver for Snowflake from any of the tool, right? Otherwise, we don't need a driver over there. For example, if you are connecting with any ETL tool, so those ETL tools are mostly having Snowflake driver, which are all popular ETL tools. But for example, Informatica Cloud is having a driver on its own, so you don't need to worry about. You can just import and install, and you can select and work it from the cloud. But if you are working on premises, so we have to install a driver separately, and we need to use it. So that should be that should be configured as JDBC or ODBC, whatever way you are using it. Okay, so that is how. If you take most of the BI tools, so those BI tools also they have their own drivers. So they are providing drivers to connect with Snowflake, especially Power BI and Tableau. These two are the top two BI tools nowadays. So those are having a way to connect with. I think IBM also, for their tools, they have provided the drivers for Snowflake. So that's it. So it has been in the market for nearly 4-5 years. So a lot of people are now created drivers for Snowflake. So we'll not be having any trouble to connect with Snowflake from any other thing. And similarly, R, Python, Java, .NET, any one of these popular programming tools also they are having it. So because I am doing Python also, so I can just show you how we can connect with Python. Just a few things about the connection and how you can execute all of these queries from Python. Okay. So that will be doing the last session. Then about the loading and unloading of data. So this we have not yet finished so far, because I need to show you how to get it from Azure. But how you get from local system, we have seen that a little bit of. I think you need to work it out on. Right? You need to do at least 1 or 2 queries from there, and you need to find out how that is working. Because in real time, it's very essential. The tool is called as NoSQL. So you have to install it in your local system, and from there you can get data into the Snowflake, right? So those commands are called as put get. So put is a command for loading, get is a command for unloading. Okay. So the put and get can be executed only from the clients. That means you cannot execute it from the web user interface. So where you are working now in the browser, right? So that is one thing. And about AWS, we have seen that how to create a S3 bucket and how to connect and get it. Similarly, Azure also I will show you. Yesterday I was about to show that only, but due to the issues in my connection, I have not done. Right. So Azure is there. Then unloading. So what do you mean by unloading is, so we are going to copy back into a stage. Same command only. Copy into, if you are giving a table name, it's going to load it into a table. Instead of that, if you give a stage name, right? Stage names are identified by the prefix what we are giving, followed by @ symbol, right? So in that way only Snowflake is identifying the names, whether it is a table or stage. Okay. So that is what we need to know about. So this is the first topic actually. After all these are all about basic things. Then we are going for this one, loading and unloading. Most of them we have done it. So working with roles, so how we create roles, how we assign roles. So that is what we have covered. This one is about working with semi-structured data. So we have seen that how the semi-structured data has been taken and it is loaded not as like a normal table. Initially, we have loaded into one single column with the data type variant, right? That is one thing. I'll be doing more little later on, where we can load. That is what this transformation will be coming. So when we are doing the transformation, we can load the data into separate columns, even from a JSON file or XML file, like a relational table. Okay, so that is what about the transformation. When we are going there, we will do that. So I have taken the time travel and fail safe yesterday because of that issue in that one. So I was doing that for you, right? Materialized viewed and cloning, then querying data in stage files, querying metadata for stage files. So these are all will be covered little later on. So I'll just give an overview of this. Materialized views are about, we know views. So some basic concepts on databases, I'm not covering it. Okay. So example, yesterday Subbu asked about commit and rollback. Yes, here also we have commit and rollback. So you need to begin a transaction, right? Begin, not the transaction command, begin some name you can give. So it will provide a transaction area over there. So within that you can work it out. So whether you want a commit or not, whether you want to roll back it or due to some reasons. Okay, so that is a regular concept on database. That's why I assume that the basic database knowledge you will be having. So that's why I'm not doing it. But materialized views are a common thing. Like any other database, you can create views. You know what are views and how they are working. Views are generated on runtime, right? So you don't have the views to be stored somewhere. So views can be created from multiple types. So that is what a view is about. But here, materialized views, they will be stored like a snapshot or something like. They will be stored, that kind of views. So anytime if you connect with the views, materialized views, so you will be having some kind of data over there and all, right? So and it will storage credit will be occurring over there. That means they are chargeable. Material views are chargeable. Normal views are not chargeable. Okay, that is what. Cloning, another one. So we will be seeing soon. Cloning is what data you have in any table or anything. So you are going to have the exactly same replica of that into another one. So that is what cloning is about. So as I was explaining a little bit of that yesterday, cloning is using the same storage. Physical storage is same. Whether you have an original table and cloning table, the data is going to be same. So it need not to be stored separately. It is stored in the same area, storage area, and it is just giving a reference. Cloning table will give a reference. Okay, that's what it goes. But when it will be charged is when you are doing some changes, modifications in the clone table, then the charges will be occur, because the clone table will not modify the original data. So what happens here, the clone table will have a separate storage for only the changed data, not for the entire data. Okay, that is how it goes. Time travel and fail safe we have seen yesterday. So what is a time travel? Where we can have historical data. That means that you can go back to on the time and get the data on any particular day, or you can specify some relative dates also for that one. Okay, so that is how it goes. Fail safe also, it has been what you call it's been maintained by Snowflake, so we can't control it over. One second. Okay, so we can control it, but we know that it is 7 days of fail-safe is available for us. So anytime if we are losing data due to any natural disaster or some other big disasters there, so we will be sure that the last 7 days Snowflake is giving assurance, so you won't lose at least the last 7 days of data. Okay, that is what the fail-safe is about. Staging tables. So you have staging files there actually. So you have to keep it in mind. They are all not tables actually. They are files. So you are loading JSON, XML, or CSV files only. You are loading there in the stages. So we have a way of querying those staging files also. So that can be treated as a relational table, and we can query them, right? And you can query the status and the metadata, that is what about the staging files also. Okay, we have some few parameters there and we are going to check it. So yesterday we were talking about these parameters, the data retention period, right? That is one of the parameter we have. So like that we have several parameters. I'll be showing you about those parameters. So that okay. So then that's the thing. Next thing is about auto continuous load. So this is one very important one, where we will be using a tool called Snowpipe. So the Snowpipe will work together with the AWS notification service. So it has to work together with the AWS notification service. So we have to mention where the data is located and all in the AWS. So the AWS will create a notification to Snowflake whenever the data is being loaded. So the notification service will be giving a notification actually. Then the data will be taken from Snowflake. Okay, so triggering will happen. That is what. Whenever data is loaded, immediately the data can be ingested here. So it is very useful. Snowpipe is for nowadays. You have a lot of streaming, data streaming is happening. So that will be useful for that one. Okay. Then the transformation data during load, that also we are going to see. Sharing data is about how to share data with the other accounts or with people who don't have accounts also. Okay. Data consumers and data readers. So that is one thing we will see. How the security is been maintained here and what type of security we are expecting from Snowflake. Right. So that is one another topic we have. Then about connecting from multiple applications. So separate applications, how we can connect from. So that is one thing we are having another one. Then about the query performance. So how to get the best of query performance. So where you have to see what settings you have to do. So how to monitor them, right? So that is what we are going to see that. When you are designing a warehouse or table, right? Warehouse is for computing, table for storage. So how those things has to be designed. What should be considered for getting the best out of that? And similarly, data load planning. So how you plan your data load so that that can be done in a seamless manner, right? Right. That's what. Then about the credit usage, this is also a very important one because we need to know that how we can reduce the cost at any point. So doing that and monitoring and estimating the credit used also. Right. So managing your Snowflake account. So how you are having a data transfer building and how you monitor your account level credit and storage usage. That's what already we have done on that one. And in account also account level. So there we are doing it on database level or individual objects level we are doing. Here as a whole of account level, how to get it. About the user management. So that is how this course goes. So this is the history. We are going into the history. So you see that this is the history we are having. So all type of queries, whichever you have executed so far in your account. So that can be, you can view it in the history, right? So this will give you an entire kind of thing. So what is the warehouse used and which user has been executing this and what session ID you have. So session ID is one important thing we have. So you see that each of them, some of them you are running in the same session, some of them in a a different session it is running over there. Okay, so you can just sort it by time. If you sort this by time, you see, so we have session IDs going on, right? Same session ID is coming up. So the session ID is one where we'll be considering the session when we are going for the credit usage. You will see that. So when you start a query, the query will execute and it will complete, then only the session will end, right? Even if you are closing your browser or something, even if you log out from there, that when the session is started, the session will be executing in the background. Okay, that is going to happen always. So we should not think about a session as what we are working on in the worksheet and all, right? So it is being executed in the background also. We'll see that little later on. We are going. Just what I want to show you here is about the time travel. Yesterday we have done it. So yes, here it is. Okay. So this is where we have done. These are the queries we have executed yesterday before that, right? Okay. So that's the thing. You can see that how the warehouse is being used, and in some places you have clusters are also shown in which cluster it is working on, right? So this is what the query we have executed. So the query executed on time, so we can see the time also here. So what is the end time we have? So right, so what I need to do is I need to copy this time, paste it over here. Then I have to frame a query according to that. Okay, so I'll be creating a query. So I need to provide the date timestamp. Okay. Go here. So let me go to time travel. So this is what the time travel is about. You can see that. So we can have at or before. Timestamp should be maintained. Offset will show you the differences from the present time to the in the seconds it will be. You can identify the statement. That is what the query ID is about, which has been executed for us earlier. So these are the options. That is what we call it as SQL extensions. Right? So this is how the query also we are executing here. I just want to show you by using time. Okay, here it is. So I just want to show you. So here you are using the statement ID, your query ID, right? So you can have the statement ID here. I was showing you in this one. You have the statement ID there. Nah? Query ID will be there. Okay. Right. So what is the status and what is the query ID? So this query ID can be taken And before this query, whatever is being executed or exactly what that executed on that particular query, like that you can get it from the time travel, right? So these are all the possible, I'm sorry, these are the possible way you need to get. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to check by the timestamp. So at that particular timestamp or before the timestamp. So like that we can do it over here. Okay, so let me just it's easier for us to create. So here I'm taking it over this. So I'll get this from here now, copy it, paste it over there. Then I remove this offset. So what happens? We'll be having this is what casting is about. So if I am defining double colon here, so that means I am defining the data type. That is implicitly it is casting. Let me take this one. Let me check. Right, I'll okay. Let me check. I have some confusion on this syntax here. Let me check it and come back to you, right? So I don't want to spend time here on this. So simply saying, I just want to demo this, how we can access the records which you have deleted yesterday, right? So if we are selecting now, okay, we are not seeing the dealership ID 12345. That is what I have deleted in this statement, right? So earlier we had got this by using the offset command. Offset also you can use now, right? But you need to calculate 24 hours to we have to convert into seconds and then we have to use it here. Okay, so how many seconds? It is 5 minutes we are talking about. So we have to 24 into this one. So for example, 24 hours into 60 minutes, like that we need to do it. You see that it is coming up now, right? But I just want to show you by using the timestamp, okay, that I am missing something here. So let me check and come back to you a little later on. Okay, maybe after the session I will check it and come back to you, hope you understand that. So if you provide this, so this is the number of seconds passed, right? Before that, what was the state? That is what I am doing. So that is what the time travel is also about. So time travel can affect many of these things here. So it can affect the cloning operations. You can see that. It can affect your data credit also. So the credit storage also it can affect. Okay, and similarly your history. So whichever history you are having, credit history and query history, so that also will be affected by the time travel. So time travel has to be used wisely because we have to enable time travel. By default, it is enabled for all the tables. So what we are doing here, we need to set the data retention parameter. Right? So we have to alter the table. So this can be set for the account level also. So if you are setting in the account level, any object you create using that account, so that will not be enabled for time travel. Okay, so if you set this for 0, what happens? It will not be enabled for time travel. So what happens here? If you need time travel for, definitely we will not be needing time travel for all the tables and all the any database you have. So we will require for only which is having sensitive data or which data we will be using most of. So for those databases or for those tables only, so we can use this time travel over there. Okay. So in a particular table or particular database, we can do it. So that is what this is about. So otherwise, it will affect your storage unnecessarily. It will be storing at least 1 day of data. It will be storing. Okay, by default. So that is what the time travel is about. So when you talk about cloning, I just want to show you about the parameters here. Okay, what are the parameters? So that is, you just take a look on this one. So 3 type of parameters: account and session and object parameters. So what are parameters? Parameters are giving input to your system. Right? So input to your system. So where you have, these are all account level parameters we have. So the account level parameters, if you are setting, that will be taking the priority, right? Whichever is set for the account level parameter. So it will be overridden at each level. That's what it's telling, that hierarchical relationship between the different parameter types, how they can be overridden at each level. Right? So then it can be overridden if you are setting it for each user, separate users. So inside the account, we may have multiple users. So each user can have their own settings. Right? For example, a session parameter they have given. Right? So inside session also you can set it. So one user can run multiple sessions. So you can start multiple sessions, right? Whenever you are executing any type of queries, a session has been started, and related with that, all the other queries will be executed in the same session. So when you are opening one more workbook and you are executing that, so that will be treated as a separate session. For each session, you can have different settings. Okay, so that is what we are doing here. Similarly, object, if you are working on objects, warehouse, database, so all of them are objects, view, table, everything else. So that you can have. Right? So initial priorities are, the least priority is the account, but it is global one. We are doing it for. Then for individual objects and individual user or session also. So that is what the parameters are about. So very much used parameter, one of them. So we can see that the you can have a account level. These are all account level parameters. So you will be using any single sign-on if you are enabling them, or if you want to limit the application size. Replication is about replicating the data into some other region. The network policy, if you are setting it for any one parameter we are not allowing some of the IP addresses. So those policies, how to get something like that, that can be taken with the account. Then the session. So what the session parameters we are having. So you can just show parameters if you queue. Show the parameters, total parameters over there. All the parameters if you are executing. Then you will see what is this parameters value, which is for the current user or current session. So object parameters are the one mostly we use. So one of them we have already used is this one, data retention time in days. Right. So in which of these objects it can be applied. So it can apply to database schema and table level itself. So that is what this one. So similarly, concurrency level can be set for warehouse. So warehouse is what computing it's been used for. So how much level it can use for concurrent execution. Then for pipe execution passed or not. So we will be using this parameter when we are going with the snow pipe. Right. Something like that. So we are not going to see all this kind of stuff, but so you can see that show parameters in particular database, show parameters in particular warehouse or into your account, right? So this will be showing you in that session. Current session, what are the parameters you are using? So unless you are changing any of these parameters for that particular session, so it is going to be the same for all, right? The session show parameters will help you. But if you are changing anything particularly on a database, so that will be affected for all the session. Right? So if you are doing it for a database, that will be affected for all the session. So that is what the priority we have seen earlier. So something like that, and they have given the details about all the parameters which has been used. So it is little difficult for us to read or study about the entire parameters here, not required actually. So which are all you will be using most, or which are all your requirement coming up. So that time you can go through that. Okay. So I'm not recommending you to go through everything. Right? So one more question yesterday was asking is about the transaction. So transaction is, these are the regular statements we can see in any database. So begin, commit, rollback, and show transactions. Right. Apart from that, Snowflake is providing some other extensions. So that is every time Snowflake provides you some extensions on the SQL. So you can go to the help menu where we have SQL command reference, right? So you go there and find out all the SQL commands. So you will be having some good idea about. So that is the way to learn actually if you are going for certification or something, that's the way to learn about. So apart from the regular commands, we have current statement, current transaction, last query ID. So it will help you to find out which query has been executed previously, and finding that query ID, you can store it to some other variable and you can use them, right? So that is what the transaction is going about. So very, very similar to the transaction what we have. Right? So auto commit is another what you call a parameter. So you can set the auto commit parameter, whether you want auto commit or not. By default, auto commit is there, so that's why whenever you are loading, it's going to be automatically. So what you need to do is we need to go for a begin statement. So the begin statement will start a transaction explicitly, right? So that is what it is being done. So either commit or rollback will end the begin statement. The begin statement is closed by either doing a commit or rollback. So these are all common things only. Right? So similarly, the locking. So when your transaction is provided with a lock, so when you are modifying any of this table or something like that, so locks will block other statements also. So we can check whether we have locked or not and we can provide a timeout for lock. So unnecessarily, it can go into a loop and it will be locked for a huge time. So the other resources will be waiting. Right? So this is how we can set session wise. You can have a lock timer. So lock timer is another parameter we'll be using. Right? So parameters we'll be using in multiple uh, areas where we need to know about what parameters are related with them. We are working with transactions, so what parameters we are using for transactions. Right? So that is about the transactions. Similarly, when you go to the next topic, we are going to see about after time travel and fail safe. So it is about the clone. Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
Murli.
So we got a power cut now. So I told you already. So please be there. I'm now connecting with my mobile now. Okay. So that the broadband connection has been it is restarting now. So it may take a few minutes time to do it. So that's why a small. Okay. So please bear with me. So this may occur maybe daily also. It may occur, but it will be 1 or 2 minutes only. It will be restored. Okay. That way it will be restored. Fine. So that's what we are into. Clone. Clone is I have shown you what are the considerations to be done on cloning. So we will be you see that we can create a clone over here. So cloning is about as I told you, it's a copy of an existing object. So you can create a clone from here. Right. You can see that these are the consideration we do for cloning. So let me do it. I'm not going to do all things stuff here. I show you the PPT, right? Not today, maybe I'll show you. Next class, I will show you the PPT of that. What all the points you need to remember with cloning, right? It's not been more clear on this one. Maybe a lot of things have been given here. But this is the way of creating cloning here. Okay, you see that create table orders clone of orders. So that is why that is what what the command is a simple command we have. Okay, so how to clone a table? This is the actual table. Orders is the actual table. So we create a clone of. Similarly, you can take our this timestamp also. Okay, so we can create it from a particular point of time. So before this timestamp happens, so the clone will be taken. So you don't need to every time give a timestamp for accessing that particular data. Right? The data in a particular clone. So that will be fixed. Nah? So you don't need to. There is no additional charges for a clone if you have not done any changes there, right? So your clone table will be existing as a reference to the original table only. And here in this example, we are taking the history. Okay, so we are taking the time travel table. So that will also be a very useful one for this. So this is a very good scenario. You can use it in many places. Okay. That's what the clone is about. So tomorrow I will execute. I'm sorry, the next class I'll execute clone. So I will prepare some proper planning about, and I will give you in beforehand itself what topics we are going to cover on each day and how it has to be executed. Okay. That also I will prepare and give it to you because I don't have an exact kind of topics to be covered on each day because sometimes it may vary. Nah? So that's why I have not given. But anyhow, it will be a good guidance for every one of us. I also needs to do it in a proper manner, right? Now, classroom training normally I'll be taking for 3 to 5 days. So in different corporates, they'll be having not maximum, not more than 5 days I'll be doing. Minimum 3 days we will do normally, right? So that is what we are going to do here also. So 3 days converts into 24 hours. So almost we have completed nearly 10 hours, more than 10 hours here. Anyhow, I'm not restricting this to hours here. I will not be counting hours and tell you it's going to be over, right? It will be done until all these things are covered properly. I'm sure about that. Okay. That's it. So any questions today? We have not done more kind of stuff. Actually, I have prepared a lot of things yesterday itself, but not done. This integration is one of the important one because it involves a lot of preliminary work here, this integration. So you see that storage integration. Earlier, we were giving the credentials directly. So that means that most people will be knowing your credentials. So instead of that, what I do is here you see, I create a integration. You can see that one. I create an integration. Just I provide the Azure tenant ID only and give the tenant. Rest of these things are stored in the Azure itself. Okay. So then you can see that I create a stage using the integration. Same stage only I have created earlier with the key values, AWS keys, but here I am using only with the integration. So this person, this user who I have given rights to create a stage, he doesn't need to know about the security information available. So that is the way it goes. So for that, what you need to do is you need to create S3 has been already created. So we need to create a user and a role and a policy. All these three should be created. That should be reflected inside the Snowflake stage. We need to describe the stage and get those information. And from that, we have to assign these values inside Azure policy. I'm sorry, AWS policy. Okay. So this is how we are describing it. So you see that tenant ID is there now. So this tenant ID, you have to provide it there in the Azure. Okay. And the consent URL also. So I will show you the steps, simple steps only, but it will be confusing if you are doing in a do it in a relaxed manner sometime later on. So how to create S3 in S3 bucket in AWS we have seen. So we are going to see that how to create a storage location in Azure, because I think Sriram, you are looking for Azure, right? Okay, so I'll be showing it for you.
Yeah,
in
sure.
the Azure. Yeah, right. Okay, so that is one thing, right? So then about the cloning. So these two we will cover positively on the next class, which is on Wednesday, right? So then I will be giving you that. Now I will share you. Today I will share you these all the worksheet, whichever queries we have been executed. All the worksheet queries I will be giving it to you, right? Remember this put command. You need to provide this. It should be executed from NoSQL.